Welcome to the stream. It is the 2.5th anniversary of Touhou LostWord, and we have been gifted with a new story in the Hifuu LostWord, titled Code L ? The Last Word or Word, Act 1. So whatever we are doing today, it will not be completed today. YouTube is feeling bad. That's not good. I hope we are feeling well, as we are entering the third part of what is probably my favorite part of this game. A miracle is a happy coincidence. This word has degraded, just like the words for God, heaven, hell, angel, and demon. Code L? Episode 1? Where does the mysterious subway lead? Oh, it's on your side. Okay. The Japanese character for tower had religious connotations, like how it's used in the words for pagodas and grave tablets. Salvage parts of R's ? report. R being Renko, maybe? It sure sounds like it. I am Renko Uzami, and this is my report. It details how Mary and I uncovered the truth behind the lost barriers. I cannot allow anyone but Mary to read what I have written, so if you're reading this, you must be her. Hello everyone, we are Mary. I wrote the publicly available parts of this report in a secret code, so only we can uncover the report's true contents. While it pains me to say this, we cannot let anyone read the information contained herein, not even our friend. We are the Secret Sealing Club. We expose barriers for what they are and cross boundaries. These acts are officially forbidden because they disrupt the balance of this world, but that is what we do. The lost barriers weren't our fault. At least I'm fairly certain they weren't. I'm sure Mary would tell me if they were. No one can know what our club really gets up to. We have to keep the fact that we investigate barriers a secret. And we have to expose the truth behind the lost barriers while we still can. It was a stroke of good fortune that our friend received that mysterious sealed letter, that blank invitation. No, perhaps everything had already been set into motion before it arrived. In fact, I'm sure of it. It wasn't by chance that we investigated that ward or ventured into that ruin near the sanatorium. Nor was it a coincidence that we were staying the night when the invitation arrived. There's something else at work here. Our friend had yet to fully investigate the subway. It seems she only learned that it was still operational when we did. Of course, She also didn't know that the tracks led somewhere. There was nothing dangerous about the subway. It was merely used to transport people and cargo. The train was an old one. It still ran on wheels as opposed to electromagnets. But it was a surprisingly comfortable ride. I'd say that was thanks to the pink noise. Once the train stopped, we stepped off onto a smelly subway platform that looked like it hadn't been cleaned in ages. The lights were on though. LEDs last for a long time, I guess. Either way, we soon discovered why there was still electricity. We climbed all the stairs leading up from the platform and stepped outside. We were left speechless by what we found. Some very rundown buildings. But it didn't take me long to figure out where we were. I had heard about this place before. I grew up in Tokyo, so it would be pretty strange if I didn't, or hadn't. It was a district in Tokyo called the Last Tokyo Ward, or Last Ward for short. This was the first time I'd been there. Because this ward is a remnant of the old Tokyo that had been buried underground. We decided to head back before venturing too far from the station, and by we I mean me, Mary and our friend. There were 3 reasons for this. First, we needed to make preparations before exploring such a large area. Second, our friend told us that she couldn't stray far from her research facility. But Mary and I didn't want to drag her into this. Oh hey, different outfit for Renko. It's the Secret Sealing Club. We've got no choice but to investigate. This, I think, is her outfit from the newest CDs, right? We must find the truth behind the lost barriers. Salvage parts of M's mystery report. I am Maribel Han, and this is my report. It details Renko's and my actions for our secret sealing club. I can't let anyone but Renko read its contents, so you must be her. We are all Renko now. I have ensured this by writing the introduction of that other report in a code that only Renko can decipher. We can't drag our friend into this. This is a problem for the Secret Sealing Club. The event that caused the lost barriers happened fairly recently. Check the other report for more details. As the name implies, This was the moment when barriers all over the world suddenly disappeared. Before then, extraordinary things could be found in everyday life, with new discoveries being made every now and then. But then they were gone without any warning. Now, if you are wondering what effect this had on the world, surprisingly, nothing really changed. In fact, you can even say that it had no real detrimental effects at all. In the past, before the advent of science, there was one thing that no civilization could control: nature. This also includes things like wild animals that live in remote regions and natural disasters. But the people back then weren't scared of nature because they took precautions to minimize its threats. And that is what barriers were to us. A threat, but one that could be avoided. It might have been different in the past, when barriers first appeared, but we eventually learned how to deal with them. The same could be said about abilities, which have steadily grown weaker ever since the barriers disappeared. Does this include yours and Renko's? Abilities are rare. They are usually discovered in children, and they have always grown weaker with age. The effects of most abilities can also be replicated by modern science. In fact, the deterioration of abilities was welcomed by people who had abilities with undesirable effects, and by people whose abilities would have been declared an illness rather than an eccentricity in an earlier era. Nowadays, it is generally believed that there is an inseparable link between abilities and barriers. It is theorized that abilities are powers pulled from the other side of a barrier. That's why the lost barriers didn't affect society at large, but they did affect specific individuals. You can separate these individuals into 3 distinct camps. First, the few people who study barriers and abilities either for political leverage or economic gain. It's not very efficient. Second, those who find solace in abilities and barriers. These come in varying degrees, from mere hobbyists to cults. And lastly, there is me and Renko, with our secret sealing club. You both lost your hats. As far as I can tell, Renko's ability hasn't deteriorated yet, but that could change. Everyone's abilities are getting weaker. So why? Why is mine getting stronger? Well, that's an ominous look you have there, Mary. But I guess your ability needs to get stronger if the barriers are getting weaker, so that you can still see them. Renko's Miracle ? Report 1. The following is what I remember about Danae Kochia. We were friends in elementary school. Everyone at school knew her for her angelic smile, but she also seemed more mature than most kids her age. She was smart, respectable, beautiful, and healthy, was good at sports, music, art, and cooking, and got lots of awards. Last awards or lost awards? She was always polite, kind, approachable, decisive, and generous, and she was among the tallest in her class. In other words, she was perfect. I have just the story to illustrate what kind of person she was. The time was autumn, and a single ginseng fruit fell from a tree in the corner of the school grounds. The fruit fell right into a pond with a resounding plop. As an aside, ginsengs are full of slatterites, or stone cells, and the frog stone is a famous tourist attraction near Tokyo. Doesn't this make you think of Basho poems? A Basho's poem about the sound a frog makes when it jumps into an ancient pond. Anyway, Sanae was in class when she saw this ginseng fall, so she raised her hand and asked the teacher a question. Why do ginsengs fall down to the ground? It was a simple but profound question, not something you'd usually hear from an elementary schooler. The teacher said, because it's autumn, that's when they fall. But Sanae asked the same question to other teachers. The science teachers, because of gravity, was the most direct answer, but it's interesting how they all answered differently. The PE teacher said, because they do. The music teacher said she didn't know, and the art teacher looked annoyed. The math teacher talked about quadratic equations, and the language teacher dodged the question by reciting a poem. Isn't it just so that the seed can get to the ground and the new tree can grow? Where's your biology teacher? What's surprising is that the part-time IT teacher spoke at length about the super-unified physics theory of gravity. Apparently, she wanted to be a science teacher, but was unable to pass the exams. In any case, Sanae's simple question was enough to destroy a common misconception that the other kids took for granted. The kids learned that adults aren't perfect. Adults don't know everything. They are people just like us kids. How long is this story? I don't know, I just started it. The kids realized that, just like them, each teacher was a person with their own unique personality and quirks. Sanae brought about this great change in the school without any apparent effort at all. I have another anecdote that I'd like to tell about Sanae. Of the two, this one left a much stronger impression on me. Which makes sense because it only involved us. It was a sunny day in the middle of summer, so about 3 months before she asked that question I mentioned earlier. I remember a stark contrast between bright light and the large shadow, so I think we were behind the main school building. There were puffy white clouds in the sky, and the cicadas were chirping as she shyly whispered, "Renko, I can create miracles." Her hands were clasped together, one on top of the other, as if she was trying to keep water from spilling, or a tiny insect from escaping. Curious, I bent down and peeked inside, and that's when I saw it. No, that can't be right. We weren't at school, and it wasn't the middle of the day. Yeah, I'm fairly sure. We were at a shrine. This has just made me more certain of what I had already suspected. I don't know her. While I can clearly remember the time I spent with Sanae and I'm sure they are my actual memories. I'm also sure that I don't know her. I have no idea why these memories suddenly came back to me now, or why I had never thought about them before. Which is why I'm certain that I don't know any Sanae Kochia. I guess you must have forgotten. Tea break! And they're back to their other outfits. Alright, are you following so far? We're going to keep presenting our reports like this. It's kinda like a debriefing for our Lost Barriers investigation. Yeah, we are fulfilling our promise. You have to stay here, so hearing the results of our investigation into the Lost Barriers might help you find your lost memories. Yeah, that's the only lead we have right now. Thanks, Renko. Thanks, Mary. The tea is ready, so let's take a little break. Thanks, Li Huan. The subway is connected to the last Tokyo ward. Tokyo isn't that far from here by train, and that autonomous train is much more technologically advanced than it looks. Without the train, the subway would just be an incredibly long tunnel. There's no way we could reach Tokyo on foot. What I'm trying to say is that I had no idea that the tunnel led to Tokyo. If it wasn't for that sealed letter that appeared on my desk, I doubt I have ever figured out where it led. I don't have the time to investigate it. This facility houses a library's worth of documents. There are more rooms like this one, filled with just as many books. I can't leave this place for long until I finish sorting through them. That's the promise I made with my kind benefactor, who practically gave this place to me for free. Of course, I also know about the Lost Barriers. They are why we made that promise in the first place. Gaps in barriers are the source of everything in this world that's mysterious, supernatural, strange, or wondrous. They're the genesis. Without them, none of these books would exist. But now they're gone, and I don't know how long the information stored here will last. So you have to copy it all. Preserve it. Make it your own. Renko and Mary confided that they are investigating the Lost Barriers to ensure the survival of their secret sealing club. As far as I know, the main activities of their club are field and desk research into various aspects of folklore. And apparently this has become much harder ever since the barriers disappeared. Meaning they have probably made the unusual decision to specialize in folklore that deals with barriers. Unfortunately, there is something that I cannot discuss with them. Recently I've been meeting them both in the world of dreams and illusions when my consciousness flies there. However, unlike me, they don't remember anything that happens there. Taking all this into account, I have come up with a tentative theory. I'm guessing that the true goal of the Secret Sealing Club is to expose barriers. They probably interfere with the gaps in barriers and even pass through them if they can. This endangers themselves and everything around them. There's even a rumor that this can rewrite the laws of physics. And some people think the very idea of exposing barriers is sacrilegious. I think there's also a law that makes it a criminal offense, though I'm not sure since I haven't really looked into it. The general consensus is that the act of exposing barriers is as deadly as getting stranded at sea or lost in the mountains. Of course, this begs the question: what if the barriers disappeared because they were exposed? And so, the act begins for real. CR plus LF. There's a new thing in this game, with this version of the game, which is buddies and helpers. We now have a friend list and can use characters by friends in battle. Which is gonna be useful for me in the future to show off characters that I don't have myself. But I also still have a lot of characters to show off that I have myself. So let's not do that. Like this one, and all the others that follow behind it. I don't know. Well, let's connect, Wagasagi-hime. We're connecting very slowly to the next part of the story. Huh? Why am I dreaming again? Oh hey, it's these two. Pause! Don't blame us! You're really touching it now. Yep, you've got your hands all over it. Huh? What are you talking about? You're touching a tiny possibility while standing here in the space between all the dying worlds. Oh, but don't get the wrong idea. You're not saving anything. It isn't a possibility that could stop a world from ending. Observing the end is anything but simple. It's a real pain and you are in the thick of it now. But, well, there's no point worrying. Just need to learn the ropes. Move it! Thanks for taking care of things while I was away, you two. I'll handle it from here. Oh boy, it's these two. Hello, ordinary human. I am Mima. Spirit who leaves fate to the dream of eternity. Mima. I don't think you ever had a title. Let alone a title card before. I'll be straight with you. You're in a precarious position, and I really don't want you to fail. The box is still closed right now, so the information inside will only be determined once you open it. My name is Shinki, and you are a human from the human world, are you not? The God of Makai, Shinki. And by information, I'm referring to the reports those two girls are presenting to you. But they are reports. They are about things that have already happened. So shouldn't that information already be determined? No, not yet. Which is why you shall make it so. Alright, I think we better show you who we found this time. Huh? Where did they come from? To put it simply, these girls are your 10-foot pole. They are fragments we extracted from dead worlds to help you out. They will let you touch places out of your reach. In other words, they are tools. The events in the reports have already happened, but you need me to change fate after the fact. Will this reveal the truth behind the lost barriers? The only option available to you now is to pursue the truth. But who's to say the truth you are searching for even exists? Huh? It's no good. They've completely lost me. Now, let's see if you can get your tools to obey you. So, let me just observe these four for a moment. We have Shikigami, Nitori, and Aya, and Backdancer, Flander, and Kokoro. I've always been hoping for a new Kokoro, but this is kinda not what I was expecting. It also looks a bit weird. I like what Aya looks like. Flan is also nice. I'm sure you know what to do. I'm gonna fight them. It's time for a battle of bullets. Is it time for a battle of bullets? Yes. Oh no! It's time for question marks. I have so many question marks. I didn't really check how difficult these fights are gonna be. But it is normal mode, so it shouldn't be that bad, right? Oh yeah, we are doing fine. Extraction! Black water that changes the ways of the world. Yuma Tortetsu spellcard. She extracts the power of crude oil in this attack. There were once two theories regarding the origin of oil. One that said its origin lay in organic life, while the other said it lay in inorganic gas produced by the earth. Eventually, the organic life theory gained wide support, with the formation of kerogen being seen as a critical step in oil's production. The theory states that the remains of creatures from long ago amassed underwater were decarbonized. Then, due to the Earth's heat and pressure, they transformed into oil. In that sense, oil is nothing more than a concentrated solution of the dead's resentment and vengeful thoughts. Time sign, private square. He manipulates time within a fixed area. Thinking about it, the only people who could generally pose a threat to Sakuya are those whom time has no power over. However, most creatures, be they human or yokai, value their time and are generally ruled by it. Some notable exceptions would be Remilia, who meddles with fate, Yukari Yakumo, who interferes with the laws of nature, and Kaguya, who manipulates eternity and the instantaneous. Although not much is known about Kaguya's ability, this maid seems much too powerful to be a simple human. Sun sign, direct sunlight. She attracts with direct radiant sunlight. Sunny Milk is the fairy of sunlight. Sunny Milk's power is everlasting as long as the sun rises and sets. Solar power is a renewable energy source, and most life on Earth is made possible by sunlight in the first place. That's how important sunlight is. A little bit of mist could never prevent the sunlight. Everything will be fine as long as the world doesn't get completely shrouded in darkness and the land doesn't sink deep below the ocean. That won't ever happen, will it? You're just gonna kill these, right? Well, still being questioned about what these are about. Taking your private time with this attack. Well, Yuma, you get to finish them off.
どうせ外の世界の石油も似たようなもんだろ。こいつは死者の怨念を極限まで煮詰めた濃縮液だ。対して世界のあり方を変える黒い水。燃料が尽きる前に冬を終わらせる。お嬢様も文句はないでしょう。
Remembering an unforgettable friend. M's Miracle Girl Report A. Words used by diverse populace share fewer connotations, resulting in a simpler, general-purpose word. Grabmarkierung. Grave marking. The absurdly long stairs at the end of the dank and moldy platform led up to the last Tokyo Ward station's entrance. What is this a remix of, I wonder? If we looked around, we might have found an elevator, but Renko and I are pretty used to long walks by now. I'm assuming it's a remix of some music CD song. That said, climbing those stairs really felt like a climb in every sense of the word. And it wasn't just an upward climb. We had to climb up, then down, then back up again. Renko jokingly said she felt like an ant or a mole winding through the earth. That's because there weren't stairs all the way to the station's entrance. In fact, we walked most of the way on flat ground. We walked past rows of dilapidated restaurants and unmoving walkways next to crumbling displays of modern art. Yeah, don't know what song this is. There were unreadable advertisements that had slowly eroded over time in the plaza with a dried out fountain. These things made it easy to imagine what this place used to look like, and easy to identify what was missing. The people were long gone, however, even though this place had been abandoned. People leave a part of themselves in every place they use. They leave regrets. That's once again a different Renko outfit. But this one I'm not sure if it's from anything, because I don't remember the pattern on her front. It's a really nice day today, huh? A different location calls for a different outfit. It helps set the mood. Renko's gone with a more casual look today. She looks really good. Can't disagree with that. I may as well mention this here, but modern technology has made it really easy to follow the latest fashion trends. Of course, there are still people who stick to the old way of doing things, and that includes us sometimes too. But there are many more options available now, and they are all cheap. There's more freedom to express yourself. With the power of science, anyone can easily arrange their hair, makeup and outfits at a reasonable rate. I had thought this song had looped long ago, but also this is probably the most identifiable part of it. Didn't identify it though. The latest developments in nanomachines, holography, metamaterials and bioengineering help you look your best. I like how you can adjust the length and shape of your hair at the touch of a button. You can become a whole new person. However, all these options created a disparity between those who know how to use the tools available and those who don't. It's not easy to design a look that gives off a specific impression, or find the look that suits you best. You can't get those things just by copying someone. And I put it like that, maybe fashion hasn't changed much after all. Well, whatever. It seems I'll have to wait for Renko to judge my fashion choices today. She hasn't said anything for a while. What's she thinking about? Maybe we should have come up with a plan before we got here. This place is so big that I don't know where to investigate first. Oh, so that pattern isn't on her dress. It probably was just a book she was holding, huh? How could she not expect this? Renko was the one who suggested that we just go and see what happens, even though that's usually my job. Yeah, what should we do? That was what I was going to say, but those words never got the chance to leave my lips. I was convinced we were alone in this abandoned city, but that assumption collapsed in the face of what was before me. There was another person. Hello, do you need any help? Is this your first time here? Can I show you to a nice cafe where we can have a chat and get a coffee or some tea? Are you Aya? Outside world Aya? I'm a reporter who writes about this last word. Call me Aya Shameimaru. That's my pen name and my business name. It is Aya indeed. Don't worry about the tea. I'm happy to pay for it, as long as you answer a few questions. Of course, I can also provide you with some information that will help you explore the last word. Come on, let's go. To be honest, Renko and I already knew about the last word before we got here. But there are different levels of knowledge. Or I guess you could call them different types of knowledge. Knowing a place's geography is different from knowing what it's like to visit for a holiday or live there. You generally know a lot about places you've actually been to or lived in. They leave a lasting impression in your memory. There are some places you know about through pictures or travel guides, even though you've never been there in person. Like famous tourist spots or large cities. However, there are also famous places that you've heard about but can't point to on a map. Places that you've never been to but know a lot about because you've studied them extensively. You might be familiar with a small, inconsequential town from living there, or know nothing about a place but its name. The last one describes our relationship with the last Tokyo ward. Tokyo is where Renko grew up. It has a long and convoluted history, which makes sense since it used to be the capital city. Advancements in science, such as new technology and energy solutions, influenced how the city evolved. But what truly steered its course was the thoughts and feelings of the people. Humans have long memories, imaginations, and the ability to predict. That is why we have dreams, see illusions, paint visions of the future, and expect groups to make efficient plans. Like the plan to cover the whole city in a weather simulating dome that will also act as the base for a space elevator. Or the plan to create a geofront and fill the vast subterranean cavity with a utopian vertical city. However, the problem with distancing the city from the surface is that it becomes much harder to procure resources. If you go underground, you'd have to abandon sunlight, and if you went up in the sky, you'd have to compete with gravity. There's also the issue that some people might be extremely hesitant to abandon the old city. In the past, urban renewal was facilitated by demolishing old, dilapidated buildings to then build new ones. It's like how old-fashioned computers free up memory. Cities have a lot in common with integrated circuits. That's how someone came up with the idea that we might be able to increase the memory capacity of cities. Who, you ask? Probably some kind of city planning AI. The plan the government chose to go with was incredibly greedy. You could also call it indecisive. It was a turning point that could very well direct the course of our civilization for the next 10,000 years. That is the effect that creating a city has on our collective history. Nevertheless, this plan resulted in the Touhou LostWord. They chose to bury the old Tokyo underground, pushing it deeper with each urban renewal. This effectively recorded Tokyo's past in a changeable form, with the LostWord being the deepest layer. Minimum maintenance is performed to ensure the structural integrity of the layers, but nature was left to run rampant. The LostWord is really only talked about by eccentrics, so most people don't even know or care that it exists. It's become something of an urban legend. So like most urban legends, it attracts tourists. It's possible to go there, and there are few people who have. I've also talked to Renko about going there someday. However, even though the city was abandoned for greener grass, humans produce the same things wherever they go. So we assumed that even if we went there, we just find the same old sites, only older and more run down. And that's where our discussion ended. Then again, the slight differences might make the LostWord's history worth investigating. Ah yeah, shorter than Renko. Well, there are quite a few people living here. All the urban developments were done to solve overpopulation after all. Only the LostWord is at the very bottom, so we have a much lower population than any of the upper layers. It was made this way to physically preserve culture, so it makes sense that the people living here are a part of that. We live in a time where you can do anything, no matter where you are. We have internet and can get things delivered. I've even heard that some people run companies or trade in stocks from down here. That makes it sound like a resort or something. I bet it would be perfect, a perfect resort for inquisitive people who enjoy their freedom. Exactly. By the way, have you noticed anything familiar about this cafe's interior design or menu? Now that you mention it. Is it Old Adam? It looks just like the cafe near our university, the one we always go to. I've forgotten whether this one's a chain or a franchise, but you'll find most well-known brands have outlets here too. Also, yeah, this is her holding her book. That's partly because they are run by companies established long ago, but mostly because money can be made here. So why are we the only ones here? I know the service is fully automated, like most cafes, but what about the customers? It's still in business, so it must get enough customers to pay the bills. Exactly. In the LostWord, even when it looks like no one's around, there's always someone there. Yeah. I didn't mean to scare you, but it's best to be cautious. People tend to act recklessly when there's no one else around. The laws aren't always enforced here, if you get my drift. On the other hand, while there might not be any security cameras, this place is managed by some observant people. This is still a part of Japan, governed by its laws, and it goes without saying that order is a product of human culture. Right, I think I follow you. You mean that this place is still safe in its own way, and that we don't have to worry about getting robbed or attacked? Yes, that is correct. Well, in theory at least. Oh, is that the time already? Sorry, I didn't mean to keep you so long. I have some business I must attend to soon. I really enjoyed hearing about your search for the truth behind the lost barriers. Here, take my business card. I'd be grateful if you kept me updated. As someone who lives in this city, I know what it's like to search for something. Oh, is that right? What are you searching for? Let's save that for our next chat. Just know that I am also interested in the mysteries surrounding the lost barriers. I don't know why, but I get the feeling that this city has changed somehow since the barriers disappeared. So I'm investigating the lost barriers to prove that my intuition is correct. It's a bit old-fashioned, but if you need me, call the number on my card. We are bound by fate, headed toward the same goal. Until next time, see you. Mary, I'm thinking the same thing as you, Renko. Miss Aya might be able to tell us something about Li Huan's past. Yeah, we'll have to meet her again. Sometime soon. Yeah. Ars Miracle Girl Report 2. Rivers are strange. We don't pay much attention to them, but they have a huge impact on the surrounding environment. The bigger the river, the harder it is to judge how fast it flows. And fast rivers can transport a crazy amount of cargo. They are torrents that flow from high to low, gathering waters as they go. They are like a symbol of nature's power. Humans gratefully use them for agriculture and to transport goods. As creatures of Earth, we cannot live without water. But rivers that cannot be controlled bring the wrath of God. Flood prevention is needed to protect people and culture. That's why river management has been a focus of government since forever. Subduing floods inspires awe and confidence. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that it makes sense that civilization flourish next to water. The Friend Mary outfit. I mention all this because we are standing before a river. We are on a riverbank. And the wind is blowing. Incidentally, I've heard it said that rivers are used as highways for the wind. Rivers are made up of water flowing on land, so their main source is rain. Rain comes from clouds. Clouds are formed by air currents, mostly above the ocean, and are carried to land by the wind. The cycle of the Earth's water is a visible representation of the wind's cycle. Miss Aya said that there was a surprising number of people here, but we still haven't seen anyone. Hahaha, maybe we're not in the right place. We should have asked Miss Aya more questions when we had the chance. Let's explore a bit more. It's pretty fun walking around and seeing all the sights. But then, it's always fun exploring with you. How are you? There's no denying that humans are incomplete as individuals. That's one of the universal truths. That is why gods gave us the power of speech. At the risk of sounding cliché, it's easier to solve a problem by discussing it, rather than just thinking about it by yourself. And for me, Mary is the best person to talk to. It's always fun. What is it, Renko? Why are you smiling at me like that? Mary really is like a princess. Though I don't mean in the sense of talking all ladylike, flaunting elaborate hairstyles, or wearing expensive jewelry. She doesn't curtsy and walk all gracefully, nor does she have some special birthmark that denotes a royal lineage. But even an ordinary dress becomes a dress fit for a princess when Mary wears it. And when Mary speaks, I hear the voice of a princess. Her every gesture becomes something a princess would do. When she stands, she's Mary. When she sits, she's Han. And when she walks, she's Maribel. I might be using tautology, but that doesn't make it any less correct. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if Maribel actually descended from some exiled heir to a throne. If I've learned anything from books and movies, you can supposedly tell when someone is a royal. They have a regal presence. Hey Mary, about your parents. It was then that the incessant breeze suddenly stopped. Renko? Huh? I knew it! It's really you, Renko! I like that. Hiso Tensoku. Key something. Keychain. Also, this is obviously Yuka. It's been a while. Do you remember me? It's me, Sanae Kochiya. Someone that's more likely to be expected outside than Aya. Oh, you don't remember me, do you? I've never forgotten you. After all this flirting with Mary, here's your ex-girlfriend, Renko. Good thing you didn't say any of those things out loud. You were pretty famous back in the day. After all, everyone knew you. Sanae Kochiya. Sanae. You were Sanae? Yep, that's me. Wow, yeah, I remember you. Well, I do now anyways. It's been ages. What's with the uniform? It's because my middle school follows the old system. Our uniform is inspired by the ones worn back then. This song, a lot more recognizable. Still can't put a name to it. Looks good, doesn't it? Sanae did a little spin. Seeing skirts when they catch the wind like that really makes you appreciate them more. Never expected to see you here in the last ward. I didn't expect to see a familiar face either. Sure, it wouldn't be that strange to see a fellow resident of the last ward, but you are an outsider, aren't you, Renko? I'm guessing outsider is the name they use here for people who came from outside the last ward. The age range for middle schools under the old system was from about 12 to 17, so that lines up with her age now. I'm kinda jealous she gets to wear a uniform though. Not that I really want to wear one. Actually, maybe I do. We only just came here today, so it's pretty crazy that we happened to meet each other. Well, that's not exactly true, but if I said we visited once before and left right away, it would just make things confusing. My memories about Sanae came flooding back to me. That's how memories work. Once triggered, you can't stop them. It's like when you watch a film adaptation of a TV series. That analogy won't make sense unless you are into old media. It's like an abridged version of events, like the thing you are meant to see just before you die. I wonder if I'll see this moment before I die. As a lifetime's worth of information to summarize, so maybe not. Anyway, I guess I should talk about these memories. I reckon there are 3 in particular that perfectly illustrate the girl known as Sanae Kochiya. I've already mentioned the other 2, so it's time to talk about the 3rd. Sanae and I were friends back in the day, but it's not like we were inseparable or anything. We were just classmates who got along with each other. However, there was one specific event that really changed my perception of her. Sanae Kochiya was always perfect. It sounds like a joke, but it's true. Most perfect kids have some kind of fault or shortcoming, like they're actually really mean once you get to know them. But Sanae didn't have any faults. She was an angel. It was like her very existence was proof that the phrase "nothing is perfect" was just that. Nothing but a phrase. We have completely forgotten about Mary by now. It said that heaven grants each person one talent, but Sanae had every talent you could think of. Thus, she was an angel. You heard a rumor about her. It was always praise, and if you met her, you'd find those rumors didn't do her justice. Now, back to the event I mentioned. There was a certain game that was popular with the girls in our class. There was nothing special about it. I'm sure lots of girls our age played similar games. Anyway, that game was spiritualism. I meant it when I said it was nothing special. Summoning and exorcising spirits are some of the most common abilities. However, the problem was that spiritualism was banned at school. We'd get sent to the principal if a teacher saw us. That's one of the harshest punishments for a kid. They might end up calling your parents. Hearing that Sanae was involved in such a dangerous game may make you question whether she was really perfect. But you can't call someone perfect if they avoid risks by always betting on the odds. You just call them smart. When perfect people bet, there's no risk. Everything turns out in their favor. Also, people wouldn't like you if you refused to play with them, and Sanae was loved by everyone. There was never a mean thing said about her, not even in jest, and she was never hated for being too nice or too friendly. Sanae is indeed a good girl. That's why she was perfect. The wind blew in her presence, turning the heads of everyone in class. She was the solar system's sun, the galactic core, the center of gravity that the whole class revolved around. Though she wasn't the class representative, another kid had that role. So what do you think would happen if Sanae joined the Seance? I say seance, but it was just a game using a makeshift Ouija board, Luigi board. In the past, these games were called Kokori or Cupid. We call it Angel. Of course, just like most kid games, there were many variations of Angel, depending on where you played it. There wasn't any common rule set that everyone followed. Though, in saying that, there wasn't anything particularly unique about the variation of Angel played at our school. You needed 5 players and a piece of paper that had a picture of a Tory and the alphabet in the QWERTY order. You placed the paper on a table and then a coin on top. I probably don't need to say this. You need a physical coin. Then, everyone sits around the table and lays a finger on the coin. Kids' fingers are tiny, so there was plenty of room. And then you sing a song. Actually, this part might be kinda unique to us. We sang a little prayer or chant to bring the angel down to earth. There was also a rumor that the summoning would fail if someone else saw it. So we sang quietly and slowly. Angel is falling down, angel is falling down. Then we repeated it. Angel is falling down, angel is falling down. I think there were some lyrics after that, like onto my head or onto your head, but I can't really remember. Yeah, thinking about it now, it would be pretty creepy if you walked in on 5 kids quietly chanting that in a circle. Once the song is over, the kid whose turn it is asks a question. The first question is always the same. Miss Angel, are you there? The coin moves to yes. The next kid asks a question. If not, you sing the song again or give up. We probably should have added a yes and no to the paper, since that's what most of the answers were. Children, not the smartest. Regardless, once the angel was summoned, she'd proceed to reveal secrets and answer questions about the future. Well, that's the idea anyway. There's also a special ritual for ending the game, since you have to send the angel back home. If you don't, something bad's supposed to happen. The ritual starts with a song again. It's the same song as before, except falling down is replaced by flying away. Then, once the song is finished, I'm pretty sure you have to cut the paper into 72 pieces and then I can't remember the rest. I think you burn the pieces of paper or something. You know, destroy the evidence. If a teacher or parent found out about it, all the kids would get in trouble. So there's always a rule like that. And to finish the ritual off, we all promise to keep the game a secret while holding each other's hands in a star shape. From an outside perspective, that's probably the creepiest part of the game. And now you know how to play Angel. It should go without saying that the angel doesn't answer every question. In fact, she hardly answers any. And even if she does, it's rarely coherent. And if the answer does actually consist of proper words, it's usually wrong. The same could be said for most types of science, like table turning and spirit writing. And just like them, it's revealed that the coin was moved by unconscious muscular actions, not a summoned spirit. But when Sanae Kochia plays, it's completely different. When the first "Are you there?" question is asked. The coin moves to N, then O. Pretty scary, right? Like, what does that even mean? How did the coin move? If there is no angel there, the coin should have stayed still. It's contradictory. Well, unless the angel can work from home or something. The answers to the other questions were pretty crazy too. However, the reason for that is much more straightforward. When Sanae asks a question, there was always an answer, and it was always correct. Generally, it took a while for us to realize they were correct, particularly with any question regarding the future. But if it was a question about someone's secret, we could immediately check if it was true by asking that person. Remember, we were young girls back then, so the secrets were pretty harmless, like who has a crush on who. It didn't take long for the new girls, who hadn't done a seance with Sanae before, to notice something was off, especially if the name of their crush was revealed. There were other occult rumors going around the school, but the angel one was the most popular, since it was easy to test. And then, I think it started when one of the older kids joined the seance, that Miss Angel became Sanae's nickname. All the mysteries about the angel became mysteries about her. This, compounded with how perfect she is, propelled her at interstellar speed to a level above us ordinary humans. I know it doesn't really make sense, but I just remembered that in Touhou 19 she has little wings. Did she really become an angel? It's almost strange that no one took it a step further and started calling her a god. Anyway, this should give you a sense of the effect her presence had on the school and everyone in it. Sanae Kochie became an angel. Oops, chatting with you was so fun that I lost track of time. I'm actually on my way to school. Actually, Sanae was just standing there staring while we were thinking in our head. Huh? Was I talking to her? Sorry, but I have to go. I'll give you my address, okay? You haven't changed at all, and I'm really happy to see you again. Why don't we talk some more after school at my place? Your friend can come too. I'm Maribel Han. It's hard to pronounce, so just call me Mary. Miss Mary. Right, Mary. Got it. You're welcome too, Miss Mary. I'll think about it, she says with a smile, being very angry inside, I have a feeling. Okay. To get to my place from here, you go. Mary seems kinda angry for some reason. Yes, I felt that too. So it shouldn't be too hard to find. I shared a place with 2 roommates. They're really nice. You'll like them. Roommates? Who else is here? Oh, right. I need to let them know about this. I'll send them a message while I run to the school. See you later, Renko, Miss Mary. Oh, by the way. Sanae ran off, but just before she got out of sight, she turned around, cupped her hands around her mouth, and shouted. A big, bright smile was exactly the same as when we were kids. I still remember what you said at the gift shop. You picked up a toy wooden board and said, I bet the Angel game was made by the kids who couldn't afford to buy this. For some reason, that made me really happy. She displayed impressive energy and lung capacity by shouting all that out at once. Sanae waved her arms about in farewell and disappeared from view. Then, As if that was some kind of trigger. The wind started blowing again. She's just as I remember her. Is that right? I thought I was your only friend. So you have a childhood friend, huh? What's wrong? Nothing. It's just you've never told me about her before. It's complicated. I kind of forgot about her completely. As if she was sucked into another world. It's not like I'm angry or anything. But when Renko mumbled, I'm pretty sure it was an antique store, not a gift shop, I really wanted to yell at her. Like, that's not the question you should be asking. But well, Renko seemed to be lost in thought while we were talking to that Sanae girl. So she probably didn't hear what she said. But I guess that isn't really a problem, since I was listening. I really like the look of this place. Overgrown cities like this were always kind of an aesthetic I really liked. There's a fair bit of time until Miss Sanae finishes school, so we should use it to investigate as much as we can. This seems to be a residential area. No, I can't stop thinking about her. Just who is Sanae Kochiya? I know she's not a bad person. In fact, she seemed really nice, like there wasn't a hint of deceit in her. She seemed like a stereotypical good girl, even though people like that aren't really seen all that much in real life. Sanae is a good girl meme confirmed. They more commonly feature as the protagonist or deuteragonist of movies and TV shows. But that's fine. What bothers me is that Renko has never said anything about her before. Though they were friends before Renko met me, so perhaps it's only natural that she never cropped up in conversation. Yeah, maybe that's normal. If I was in Renko's shoes, maybe I wouldn't bother mentioning her. Like, people don't usually talk about their old friends or even their family unless prompted by something. Not to their classmates, their friends, their roommates, their relatives, their lover, or even their spouse. Yes, I'm pretty sure it's normal that Renko didn't talk about her. Once I reached that conclusion, the feelings of unease swirling up inside me shaped into a new question. Why am I so concerned about their relationship? Guess we are fighting someone again. Well, I've not finished any of these, so let's continue with them. Forgotten memory. Forgotten ringleader.
これが欲しいか？そうだよ。ありがとうな。ありがとうな。巧みな技。巧みな技。ありがとうな。
Distillation. Forcible and immature distillation device. She extracts the components of oil in this attack. The great advancement of modern human civilization were largely brought about by the use of oil. Long after first discovering and learning to use fire, humans developed the steam engine during the Industrial Revolution. However, when the transition from using coal to oil as a fuel source, they perfected the highly efficient internal combustion engine. In doing so, humans set themselves cleanly apart from all other life forms on Earth. All of these technological advances were driven by greed.
腹の足しにしてやろう。
心配だわ。良い場所があるのよ。
敵を蒸留すると様々な欲が抽出できるんだ。 こだわればいろんな楽しみ方ができるかもな。蒸留、強引で未熟な蒸留装置。
Oh boy, it's your easiest spell card to fight. There's no one over there.
単純に暴れられる機会も悪くないな。 適度に運動するか。
Time sign. Perfect square. She stops time over a wide area. Sakuya's ability is simple, yet also terrifying. She can speed up, slow down, and stop time, and she's the only one who can act normally during this altered time. It's not known whether there are any limits to her power, but one has to question why she doesn't abuse it to do whatever she wants.
お花見でもしようってのかい？そうだ。燃料を切らしてしまってはお嬢様がうるさいわ。完璧な仕事はメイドの必須要項だから。トキフパーフェクトスクエア。
Those squares, very perfect. ね
わかるぞ。
心配だわ。自分。
Sunlight, Sunshine Needle. She shoots bright sunlight in this attack. Sunlight bullets might be too effective against vampires. Wouldn't they be somewhat annoyed by Sunny Milk manipulating sunlight? Why do the vampires let this fairy do as she pleases? Maybe they just didn't realize that Sunny Milk could do this.
霧が晴れなきゃ憂鬱よ。建物の中でもある程度は能力を使えるけど、やっぱり晴れた屋外が一番なのよ。やっぱサンシャインニードル。メイドたちはいないわね。よし、やったー、大勝利。
Sunlight Episode 3. Searching for the truth and the last word. When words have simple meanings, it increases the length of anything you write, since you have to combine words together. Like an avalanche or a broken dam. Once one memory resurfaces in your mind, more follow one after the other. It's like the storm after the calm. I remembered how Sanae used to always have a band-aid on her knee. It was like a strip of tape binding her porcelain skin together. I don't think there was a single day when I didn't see it. I'm honestly surprised by how strange it felt to me when I noticed that she didn't have a band-aid on her knee just now. Of course, kids get small injuries all the time, so I didn't really pay it much mind back then. But thinking about it now, it's odd how Sanae Kochia had an injury, especially one that seemed to never go away. If she injured herself, that would mean she made a mistake. Mistakes and Sanae don't go together. But if she didn't hurt herself, that means someone hurt her. Could there really be someone who'd do such a thing? It's not possible for someone to hate Sanae. Everyone loves her, and she loves everyone. So if you rule that out, injuries must have been caused by accident, by a wild animal, or some other natural cause. But none of these explain why she was always injured. Accidents are unfortunate or unintentional occurrences. So if they happen all the time and they are not mistakes, they are not accidents, they must be something more. I've never seen Sanae get hurt, nor have I heard of anyone else witnessing such a thing. Nevertheless, I know for sure that there was an actual injury hiding under her band-aid. I happened to see it one time. I saw her casually adjust her band-aid. I saw her peel it off and put it back on. It was like she dug up a hidden chest to check if her treasure was still inside, then reburied it. The unlocked seal revealed a definite wound. It was an abrasion, what would colloquially be called a scratch. I saw the red of blood, a sign of life and mortality. That was one of the few instances I can remember that proved Sanae was not, in fact, an angel. This has reminded me of something else. Sanae has always been fairly tall, but I remember she had a massive growth spurt and grew even taller. Before then, when she was shorter, she seemed more headstrong and rebellious. But that doesn't really match the image I have of her. Was it not just her height that changed? I don't get it. Why did I think Sanae was a troublemaker when I first met her? Did I forget my first impression because it was incorrect? But first impressions are usually the thing you remember. Doesn't make sense. Huh? She appeared so suddenly, out of nowhere. There was no sound and I didn't feel any presence. Of course, she wasn't in my line of sight either. The only warning I had, if you could call it that, was a slight change in the wind. It shifted direction slightly. Morning. A greeting Greetings are fixed phrases used to naturally start a conversation or efficiently show that you are friendly. But I felt the opposite. The situation engineered by the person who greeted me felt anything but friendly. No, I couldn't be sure that it was her fault, since I couldn't see who was speaking. I said morning. Are you not going to say anything? Good morning. Wow, we set out pretty early, but it must still be morning. I thought it was later. How's it going? Why aren't you at school? I'm fine, and I don't have any classes today. I haven't been able to turn around since this started. I can hear the voice coming from behind me. It was a woman speaking, and her voice sounded calm and cordial. So you'd think I would turn around and face her, but I can't. Why can't I? And I just realized this, but I don't think Mary is with me. You don't have any classes? That's strange. She has her hand on my shoulder. At least, I think she does. I can't turn to check. Mary is behind you. Right behind you. Her hand on my shoulder shouldn't prevent me from turning around. It doesn't explain why I can't move. Right, I forgot to mention this, but I can't move. I can't turn my head. My arms and legs are frozen in place. I can't move a single millimeter. So I can't shake off her hand or turn around. Even if it didn't make sense logically, I might have been less confused if I felt some kind of pressure coming from her hand. Like if her fingers were digging into me or she was holding me down, but I don't feel anything. I can't even feel the heat of her hand. Is she really touching me? The only reason I said she put her hand on my shoulder is because that's what I saw out of the corner of my eye. That must mean you are... In stark contrast to my predicament, the voice didn't sound threatening at all, though there wasn't any levity to it either. Her hand isn't applying any pressure. I can't even be sure she's touching me. It doesn't hurt and it won't leave a mark. Wait a sec. Didn't Miss Aya say something about there being laws in the last ward? I got the impression that things like this wouldn't happen. Where are the police? But then again, it's not like I'm being attacked. I don't feel any pain. My freedom has been stolen for the moment, but there's no apparent cause, so it would be really hard to prove. I wouldn't be able to press any charges because my testimony would be the only evidence. I think I'm way more interested in finding out how the person behind me is preventing me from moving than who she is. Person behind. If she did something to all my muscles, my heart would have stopped beating too, and I wouldn't be able to move my eyes. But I can't move the main muscle in my limbs, neck or torso, and she did this just by placing her hand on my left shoulder. Knowing the structure of the human body, this can't be explained mechanically. So does that mean she played with my mind? Did she do something to induce a virtual state of paralysis? They say deer freeze when they are caught in headlights, but does that happen even when the deer faces the other way? Not one of Sanae's friends from school. Well, I was, but we don't go to the same school now. Wait, does she know Sanae? Their uniforms aren't mandatory, so it's always hard to tell. Oh, I didn't know that. And the next moment, I could move again. A shiver passed from head to foot, as I suddenly regained control of my body. Sorry for the confusion. Show me your face. Oh ho. I assume you are one of Sanae's roommates then? You're Renko, aren't you? So Sanae was talking to Renko, huh? Yes, that's my name, but, I was about to ask who she was, but then it hit me. I connected the dots. Sanae said she had 2 roommates. And there was a well-known and well-liked older kid who played the angel game with Sanae. I'm Kanako. Kanako Yasaka. Do you remember me? It's been a while. Miss Kanako. Kanako was an upperclassman at our primary school. She was more childlike back then, but I can still see hints of that now. Our primary school used to hold these startup pitch competitions, and she'd win every year. You'd think a kid who was so business-minded would be stuck up or not get along with kids their age, but not Kanako. She was really cool. Of course, she was also smart, polite, confident, and self-dependent. But there was more to her than that. She gave the impression of having something the other kids didn't. That's what made her really cool. I guess being popular is all about faith. Sorry about that. Just wanted to see the face of the scaredy cat who got all nervous when all I did was place my hand on their shoulder. Oh, was that it? Was I just nervous? By the way, we know each other because I would always get presented with some other award when she got hers. We would all have to stand in a line on stage together. Felt more like a punishment than anything. I saw you talking with Sanae by the river, so I just assumed you were one of her current classmates. But by the looks of it, you entered a normal university under the new education system. Probably somewhere in Kyoto. How did she know? I see. You came from the outside, so you should explore. This place is like a living fossil with plenty of sights to see. But then again, everything changes depending on your perspective. Completely lost, I decided to ask what she meant. It seems Kanako considered our reunion to be a stroke of good fortune. She wanted someone to check in on Sanae at school for her. She couldn't come to the school open day to check for herself and see if she was handling things okay. Anyone she could ask for a favor was just as busy as her, and there was no point interviewing Sanae's classmates. Apparently, she needs the opinion of a neutral party. And that's where I come in. I want you to check on Sanae at school without her knowing. The school is merely a fun recreation of the old education system, so anyone can enter as long as they are respectful. Yay, we're gonna be a stalker. Won't someone like me stand out? No, you're around the right age. And this place doesn't exactly have a tight-knit community where everyone knows everyone. Can you do this for me? You don't have to do much, just think of it as something extra to do while you see the sights. Sure, no problem. I was looking for a good spot to explore anyway. Really? Thanks so much. You should stop by our place when you are done. I'll treat you to dinner. It's the least I can do. I'm pretty sure she lives in the same house as Sanae. I'm honestly looking forward to that dinner. Kanako is a student at a university that follows the old system and works as an entrepreneur on the side. Other than her suit, which is practically her new school uniform, she hasn't really changed from how I remember her. I heard that she skipped most classes at primary school, and it seems she's doing the same with her university lectures. She runs a small company that she started with her friends. Apparently, it's not easy, but it's fun and really satisfying. That's what she just told me now, but she also told me the exact same thing in the past. She was running late for something when she saw me talking with Sanae by the river and decided to follow me. That's just like her. She's exactly as I remember her, or so I thought. Kanako turned back around just as she was about to leave. What she said forced me to re-evaluate my impression of her. You better not try to force that girl to create a miracle like the others. I'm not sure I'll be able to forgive you if you do. The old Kanako wouldn't have said something like that. She's always been good at creating friendly atmosphere to avoid antagonizing any potential business partners. But she made the purposeful decision to destroy it completely. She was hedging her bets. It was a feint. But thanks to that, I immediately understood what she was trying to tell me. When she asked me to check on Sanae at school, what she really meant is to check how Sanae's classmates treat her. Miracles, compulsion, and no forgiveness. I heard that back when Kanako participated in a seance with Sanae, Sanae guessed who she had a crush on. No, it would be more accurate to say that her crush was revealed when the angel correctly answered Sanae's question. I don't know who it was, I wasn't there. But I'm sure that was the moment when a secret bond was forged between them. So many Miracle Girl reports. Where did Mary end up? By the river. Different river. Where am I? And where did Renko go? Are you gonna meet the other roommate then? Uh-oh. Doesn't this make me completely... No. I shouldn't finish that thought. Not lost. Like everything that's indeterminate. If I acknowledge it, it becomes a reality. So that's what I should never do. Thinking about it now, the whole idea of sinking the city beneath the earth is ludicrous. They even brought the rivers and mountains along, despite natural environments being the hardest things to replicate. Like really, who came up with this nonsense? Oops, this is a report, so I should try to be more polite and respectful. It seems there's nothing else for it. I'll just have to walk until I can walk no more. I'm good at walking. I walk all the time. This may come as a surprise, but I've got pretty strong legs. Walk, Mary, walk. Found the shrine. What's going on? I thought about I thought I was descending the mountain. There's a river, so it should be simple. It should be easy. All I have to do is follow it downstream. So, how did I get here? That's a shrine, isn't it? It looks like it's been forgotten. If it still got any visitors, someone would probably tidy it up a little. Yeah, it looks like an old shrine that's fallen to ruin. But despite this, or perhaps because of it, the shrine looks holy. Yeah, lots of holes. It feels like a god might actually live there. You idiot! I don't know who I was yelling at. It might have been me for stupidly wandering about a mountain. No, who am I kidding? I was probably yelling at Renko. Stop that. Fancy. By which I mean cool. You shouldn't be here. Come on, off you go. Stylish, that's the word. Now I found it. What? No way. You've got to be kidding me. I told you not to shout. She heard me, didn't she? She heard me scream. This is too much. I feel so embarrassed. Lots of wild animals live around here, and even I don't know what might pop out if you disturb their peace. It might roar even louder than you. You don't want that, do you? Of course. Of course not. Well done. I know that took a lot of effort. Her backpack has a tadpole tail. That's kinda cute. I'm Suvako Moria. I was following you for my own reasons, but it seems I mistook you for someone else. No, don't worry. I'm glad that's the case. Miss Suvako. Yep, that's me. You spoke to Sanae by the river a little while ago, right? Well, I'm her roommate. I was on my way back home to retrieve something when I saw you chatting. I thought you might have been one of Sanae's classmates, but seeing as how you got lost all the way out here, I guess not. Haha, sorry. I mean that in a good way. Why would you want to follow one of Miss Sanae's classmates? Anyway, it was pretty incredible how high she jumped, not to mention her landing. Is she a professional gymnast? Only someone with a petite build like her could move so elegantly, and I thought I had strong legs. It seems I can still improve. This is the first time I've ever been to the last ward, and that was the first time I met Miss Sanae. Though my friend Renko seems to know her from when they were kids. Is that right? Oh, sorry, my name is Maribel Han. It's hard to pronounce, so you can just call me Mary. Mary, huh? Mary, yeah, that works. Then you can respectfully call me Miss Suvako. Huh? Oh, okay, no problem, Miss Suvako. Hehe, good. It's a pleasure to meet you. Alright, let's head down the mountain, shall we? It's dangerous here. From what I can gather, your friend has probably gone to Sanae's school to take a look around. How do you know that? I just used a little bit of domestic profiling. What's that supposed to mean? It would be best if you two explore together. I'll show you to the school once we are down the mountain. It's not far. Thank you. She's so kind and she speaks as if she can see the future. Is that the power of profiling? I spend most of my time going to all sorts of places, exploring and bringing stuff back home. Though I usually lounge about at home on the weekends. I take all the necessary precautions and return home safely. But there is still a lot of adventure to be had. You may not look the part, but I get the feeling you're just as adventurous as myself. No, we'll talk about that later. Let's hurry! Yeah, she really is perceptive. Must be the eyes on the head. You should come eat dinner at our place when you are done for the day. I'm heading back there now. Oh, and make sure to bring your friend. Meanwhile, more fighting. Are we finally gonna finish off row 1 of the team I want to bring along? More Wagasaki Hime. Loading screens. Boy, I really like what this shrine looks like. Roommate's warning personified. Magical Circus chance time! She throws knives imbued with spring temperament. Sakuya can manipulate time to perform a spectacularly over-the-top magic trick all on her own. This trick is so complex, it looks as if an entire circus troupe is performing autonomously. If she precisely and accurately shoots her meticulously prepared bullets, she can surely stop Yuyuko as well as the mastermind who prolonged the incident. And then, she can finally warm up her freezing cold mistress. For this trick, Sakuya is accompanied by mysterious purple balls marked with stars that also throw knives. Get around, everyone! The magical circus act is about to begin. But really, what are those ball things? That's a mystery that will never be solved. Taste these balls! Shares Sakuya. A girl like an angel. Inevitable miracle. Solar Storm Vermilion. He tries her best to shoot out sunlight, even though the scarlet mist scatters it. But it may only be temporary. This world's natural state has changed to a world filled with scarlet mist, a scarlet devil mansion, and scarlet magic. Since this was natural, the fairies had no choice but to accept these scarlet characteristics into themselves. This was a kind of doping, a so-called face mutation. Regardless of Sunnymake's will, her magical power was strengthened, but in her mind, she simply thought that this would let her have more fun with Luna and Star. Cute. Get obliterated by light of cuteness.
単純に暴れられる機会も悪くないな。
Inside the memory, at the school, at the reunion. Why are you looking at me like that?
そうだよ。そうだよ。これが欲しいか？人をしたほれんやこら。
People that look at me get oil in their eyes. Strange and sinful tale of Touhou. This attack symbolizes a brutally violent war that was fought a long time ago. In ancient China, there existed a beast god of immense power, said to devour stone and even iron. It combines forces with the yokai, becoming a true calamity that battles against rival gods. It was subsequently defeated and beheaded, and its head is said to have become a ding, an ancient Chinese cauldron, inscribed with the Taouti's face.
腹の足しにしてやろう。
うん、そうだ。
私に流れる獣の血はかなり伝統が深くてな。いわば獣のお嬢様さ。品性下劣な強欲主義だがな。卓録強欲イブン。
Goat! I wonder if we'll ever get a second Yuma that uses spell cards from her second and third phase. Because everything she does here is very much based on her first phase and Goyoku Ibon. Tea break number 2. I brewed some more tea. Let's take a break. Thanks, Lihon. We could do with a little rest, Renko. You said it, Mary. I've been listening to their reports for quite a while now. 2 hours, in fact. The sun will be setting soon. I can't draw any conclusions yet, but from what I've heard so far, the investigation seems to have gone fairly well. But I'm guessing that will change. No, I'm sure of it. Sanae Kochiya sounds like a perfect girl with no flaws whatsoever. When she was little, the angel always gave her the correct answers to her questions. It sounds like all the gods of heaven and earth watch over her. Is such a thing truly possible? Can anyone really be that perfect? Renko and Mary's reports don't even hint at her having any faults or flaws. In fact, she is described as being remarkably ordinary. Sanae Kochiya is perfect, but she is perfect in an ordinary sense. What if Sanae orchestrated things to make everything play out in accordance with the answers she received? They are all kids, so it wouldn't be hard to trick them into believing that some angel foretold the future. It's not beyond the realms of possibility. The problem is whether she could keep her co-conspirators quiet. Again, they are kids, so even if there was only one co-conspirator, it would be hard to stop them from talking. They'd want to spill the beans, and it's not like a kid could give them anything to buy their silence. Children won't keep quiet just because you give them money or toys. In fact, they'd probably take them and speak anyway. Starting rumors is fun, especially for kids who can spread rumors across a whole school. There would surely be rumors about Sanae being a despicable person, particularly since she has such a perfect image. And it seems Sanae's miracles happened fairly often. They were a part of everyone's life at school. So if even one of them was revealed as a hoax, the whole house of cards would come crashing down. The more miracles, the greater the risk of this happening. But it didn't. So I think it's safe to assume that Sanae didn't conspire with anyone. So does that mean Sanae, a little kid, really caused miracles to happen? Is that possible? Perhaps it is, if she has an ability. Abilities that allow an individual to manipulate probabilities are classed as one of the most powerful. That's because these abilities are impossible to replicate even with the latest technology. If Sanae still possesses this ability, it's likely that she lives close to a barrier that didn't disappear with the others. And if there is such a powerful barrier, I might be able to use it to draw out some information about my past. Regardless, there's something else that bothers me. It's about Sanae Kochiya and her roommates, Kanako Yasaka and Subako Moriya. From what I can tell from the reports, they seem eerily similar to the people I saw in my dreams. Dun dun dun. To be continued. Well, well, well. There are certainly mysteries abound. And I managed to get through 3 characters worth of spell cards. But I guess that's fine. I'm sure Act 2 is not too far away. So we will be back for the Code L question mark. Hifuu LostWord. Next time. Probably. Maybe. On Touhou LostWord. See you then. I'm now gonna go play the higher difficulties. But not on stream.